Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Well, hey there. Hi there. Ho there. Welcome to Bois. King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
He still is Rusty. Now we are we're doing some remote recording today because I've got to go to Austin a little bit later today, and some of the equipment is being used by a high school football team or basketball team or somebody. So we figured we'd do this remote because it's been a couple of weeks since we've been together with you guys. So hopefully this will make up for it, and then we'll talk about on Friday what we're doing this weekend. So, all right. So we are on King of the Hill, season 7, episode 18, or in the year of our Lord 7, ABE 14. I never promised you an organic garden. Obviously,
yep, that's the one.
Yeah, obviously it's a never promised you a rose garden reference, like the song. This aired Sunday, April 13th, 2003. We've got Peggy convinces Principal Moss to hire her as the new full-time organic gardening teacher by promising the vegetables to the football team. However, organic gardening proves much harder than it sounds. This was directed by Adam Kuhlman and Clay Hall, and then written by, of course, Judge Daniels, Tony Gamalobo, Rebecca May, and Wyatt Sinek. It's a lot of writers.
I looked up a few of those. Adam Kuhlman, he's the guy who directed it or whatever, but he worked on Fire and Ice. I like Fire and Ice. Okay. One of the good ones, yeah. And the other two I looked up, Rebecca May and Tony Gamalobo, they've worked on stuff together, so they kind of like have written on similar stuff. So Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, a TV series called Freddy.
Okay.
They wrote an episode on, so they have written together on different shows before. So
okay, all right, yeah. I I was looking through some of that stuff at the ATX TV festival, and new showrunner is going to be there, which is kind of cool. I would love to hear what they have to say.
I saw his name, the showrunner for Bois for King of the Hill. I saw his name on the credits for Big Bang Theory. So he produced that too. Yeah.
I think he understands what a sitcom is, and so that's probably why they need him, because this show is produced way more like a regular sitcom than it is a cartoon.
It's a relief, though. I like the idea that he knows what he's doing.
So hey there, blah 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 blah, and Artie, thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate it. All right, so let's get this sucker started. We are starting at the Hill House at breakfast time. It's Hank and Bobby sitting around the breakfast table. Peggy comes in. She's kind of doing her makeup as she comes through. Bobby says, "Looking sharp, Mom. Hey, are you subbing today?" She goes, "Bobby, you know I am. You left me that message that said they want me to sub for Italian." He goes, "No, I wanted an Italian sub for lunch." That's just a super solid Bobby joke right there.
That is a good Bobby joke. I like food. Solid. I like food jokes.
Peggy says, "Well, I'm all dressed up. I guess I could just shelve books at the library until they throw me out." That doesn't seem like a plan, but all right. Hank, who of course is always reading the paper at the breakfast table, says, "Oh, dang it! It says here because of high produce prices, schools are yanking vegetables from their menu." Bobby says, "Man, first they get rid of the organic garden, and now this. What's this school? What is it with this school and vegetables?" Peggy, of course, never letting an opportunity go to waste, says, organic garden? What organic garden? Bobby says, well, the coaches try to keep it under wraps. You see, the kids who want to get out of gym class can work in the garden instead. I just wish I'd found out about it sooner. Then I wouldn't have to take the presidential fitness test. You remember the presidential fitness test?
No, we never did that. But we did do we did have a garden. I think in like fifth grade, we had like a compost thing where we composted and we had like a little garden. I don't remember what we grew or anything, but I remember having a garden and stuff like that.
I do love the fact that we get to here in a minute where Bill is composting and doesn't even know it. That's kind of nice.
It's also could be kind of gross.
It's very gross, yeah. But I'm just saying, they got a big leg up on the compost. Yeah. All right, so Hank responds after he hears the presidential fitness test, because we had to take it when I was in elementary. He goes, "You'd rather work in an organic garden and participate in the presidential fitness test? Where's your patriotism, boy?" I don't think that's what that's about, but okay. Bobby says, I hate doing the flex arm hang in front of everybody. They call me T-Rex because my arms can't support my weight.
Oh, no.
It's pretty good name. Hank says, Bobby, the flexed arm hang. Goes, oh, I know. Could mean the difference between life and death. Doesn't matter anyway. Mr. Tomich is retiring and garden is closing. End of story. And, of course, Peggy gets an idea when she hears all of that, because Peggy is always trying to make her the most important person in the room.
If it ain't about her, she'll find a way to make it about her real quick.
You got that. No kidding. All right. So now we transition over into Principal Moss's office. Peggy's sitting there showing him pictures of her gardening and stuff. She goes, so as you can see and smell, I am a very gifted gardener. He goes, sorry, Peggy, but we're not looking to replace Mr. Tomich. See, nobody really needs an organic garden. The football team, on the other hand, could use more storage space for their blocking sleds and old broken helmets. It's pretty rough when that's taking the place that you were trying to do.
Well, it's kind of true, though. That's kind of what happens to these schools.
Oh, yeah. He kind of gets up and he's staring out the window and he says, oh, nice punt. I tell you, this team's got something going, not like last year. Runts almost got me fired. The football team almost got you fired.
Yeah.
Peggy says, what if the garden was working for the football team? He goes, football? I'm listening. She goes, my husband read in the paper this morning about the veggie shortage. The team needs their vitamins. How do you expect them to make it state without iceberg on their hamburgers? Number one, iceberg has zero nutritional value.
No, not even a caloric value.
That's what I'm saying. There's just nothing there. It's all water.
Yeah, it's all water.
She goes, if you put me in charge, I'll provide the team with the freshest vegetables in Heimlich County. He goes, I'll tell you what, Peggy, I'll give you a shot. You do okay, we'll talk permanent. And make sure you grow kale. That new quarterback we got loves kale. Do you eat a lot of kale?
I eat a lot of greens. I eat a lot of leafy greens. Kale might not be at the top of the list, but I like mustard greens and stuff like that.
I like those also. Kale, again, always feels like it's fighting me when I try to eat it. Like it's just so sharp.
I'm not a fan. I'm not like, it's not something I'm just going to go for now.
It kind of feels like
greens. I like spinach and stuff.
Yeah. It kind of feels like you're plucking up one of those weeds, and just eating the leaves right off of it or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So we're back at the Hill House. Bobby, of course, is dressed as a magician, which I'm sure is just like a Tuesday. He's in the living room and he's right up in Hank's face and he goes, hey, Dad, want to see me? No. But do you know what? No. I mean, he doesn't want anything to do with Bobby as a magician. That's right. Peggy comes in. She goes, say hello to Tom Landry Middle School's newest organic gardening teacher. Bobby's very excited in his little top hat and his cape. He says, you saved the garden? Way to go, Mom. She goes, and now it'll be supplying fresh vegetables to the football team. Hank says, organic garden? That's what hippies eat. When was the last time you saw a hippie that could take an offensive tackle? She goes, oh, who cares, Hank? Organic gardening is terribly inefficient. It's a full-time job. It could be my full-time job. Because that's all it's about. It's about her.
That's all it's about, yeah.
Yeah. So now we go to the garden. And she's standing there looking at the kids that are part of the gardening club. And, man, I got to tell you, they look rough. They look pretty damn rough. They're
definitely bohemian.
Well, you got your kids that obviously get picked on a lot. You got a goth girl who ends up actually talking more than any of them. You got a girl that likes to just chase butterflies, things like that. These are not kids that would have ever been on, or nor will they ever be on a team of any kind. So she's kind of addressing these kids, and she goes, "Good morning, class. I'm your new gardening teacher, Miss Hill. So this is all of you? Okay." She looks at some. She goes, "Ooh, this looks ripe. Let's get to work." And then Bobby says, "Work, Mom, you're embarrassing me." And then the goth girl speaks up. She goes, "Mr. Tomich did everything himself. Sometimes we pick stuff. Mostly we just sat around and whatever." Peggy's like, "Well, there would be no whatevering in Mrs. Hill's garden." I can't imagine there would be. Now, a lot of wasted time, I'm sure, but not
a lot of wasted time. Probably a lot of unnecessary stories that might not be completely true.
Not be completely true and might not have anything to do with what they're talking about.
Probably not.
So it kind of goes to a little bit later, and we see Bobby on his hands and knees picking. He's sweating, and he's getting in there and doing it. You got to give that to Bobby. But he finds a strawberry, and he picks it off and eats it. He goes, so that's why people eat fruit. But then you think about the fact that Bobby's favorite thing is a fruit pie. So how much actual fruit is in that fruit pie? Probably not a whole hell of a lot.
Probably like 5% fruit.
Something like that. Yeah. All right.
Let's see. Let's see how much fruit is in a fruit pie.
How much real fruit? So we go to now Bobby and Peggy have their baskets full of fruit and stuff, or full of fruit and vegetables, and they're bringing them over to the football field. On the field, the players are over there jumping, doing jumping jacks, working out and stuff, and the coaches are all standing around watching and yelling at them and stuff. Hank is, of course, over there standing with the coach, and he goes, "Boy, look at those jumping jacks this year. I tell you what." Then the two walk up, Bobby and Peggy, with their baskets full of stuff. And he goes, "Hey, Mom, why are we bringing all this up to the field?" She goes, "So the cafeteria cooks can't steal our glory." See, there you go. There it is right there. She's afraid that the cooks in the cafeteria will steal her glory. Bobby says, "Coming through, make room for tomatoes so juicy you want to eat them with a lifeguard." It's pretty good. That's not a bad line, honestly.
That's not a bad one at all.
Peggy says, "Organic goodness straight from Mother Nature's womb." That's a worse line. That is not a good line. Don't like that at all. Hank says, "Hey, look over there," trying to get the coaches to look somewhere else. He goes, "Who's got a stopwatch? Let's check the hang time on that punter." Then we hear one of the other coaches speak up. He goes, "Hey, Hank, that's some fine looking produce you boys got there." Then another one of the coaches says, "Yeah, maybe it'll give them enough juice to get off their butts and hustle." And he's just screaming at the players, even though nobody's listening to him. Hank says, I guess this stuff does look pretty good." And then the guy that just yells back and goes, "Looks a lot better than that goddamn special teams. Can't catch a punch to save their lives." Then he looks over at Bobby and goes, "Good work, kid." I mean, just like from screaming to nothing. Just,
a lot of stuff about punting.
Yeah, there's a lot of punting in this. Hank says, "I got to admit, Peggy, this stuff looks so good, I might have to become a vegetarian." And then he does his little goofy chuckle. He says, "Not really." I just love the fact that he says, "So good, I might have to become a vegetarian." Not really. I mean, just like real quick, in case anybody thought he actually was.
Don't think it.
He goes, "Look sharp, Bobby. It's the coach." Coach comes come walking up, and he goes, "That's a heck of a good-looking berry. Keep up the good work, son," and pats Bobby on the back. Of course, Hank sees that, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, my boy, he's part of the team,
My boy's making berries.
My boy, he's making them berries.
He's got the berries."
We then transition over to the alley. All four guys are standing there. So you got Hank, Bill, Dale, and Boomhauer. And Hank, of course, is regaling them with the tales of how the coach thought his kid was good. He says, "Keep up the good work, son." Yep, that's what the coach said to Bobby. And then when Bobby set out those organic onions, it was like he caught a 32-yard pass.
A 32-yard pass.
32, very specific.
That's super specific, yeah.
Dale, of course, is standing there. "What exactly are you trying to do, Hank? Turn our school into some sort of bohemian Montessori love fest?" Hank says, "No, it's not like that. It's not like the gardening they did at Jonestown." Jesus, what a pull. Talk about Jonestown. I mean, that's where everybody drank Kool-Aid and died.
Yeah, that's the Kool-Aid drinkers.
He says, "It's more like farming, and you should have seen the size of the crops. I tell you, for a bunch of gym dodgers, these kids did a pretty decent job. Well, I guess I'm going to head on in and watch some of the Home and Garden Network. It's compost week. Bobby and I are thinking of making a batch for the team." When have you ever heard Hank say he's going to watch HGTV?
Never.
That just can't be a thing.
But no, I think that would be his thing though, because they have like a lot of woodworking and a lot of DIY home stuff on there. So
I don't
would
think
imagine he would watch.
I don't think he would like International House Hunters or anything like that, though.
Well, you know what I am waiting for? I'm waiting for the Chip and Joanna reference somewhere in King of the Hill.
For the new ones?
Yeah, for the new ones. Because if he's watching HGTV now,
that's true.
There's a very high probability that he might.
He's either watching them or a knockoff of them. Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, something like that.
So he goes inside. Dale's just like, dang it. Now I've got compost fever. Bill says, me too. Maybe we could pitch in.
Isn't that a Ted Nugent song?
Compost fever?
Compost fever.
Bill says, me too. Maybe we could pitch in. He goes, oh, great idea. Now we need to find some leftover food, lawn clippings, dead leaves, and coffee grounds that have been left to rot for a long, long time. We transition immediately to the window over Bill's kitchen sink, where Bill just opens up the window and scrapes all his food out onto the ground, just in a big pile. He says,
he's a gross
it is friggin' gross. It is really ugly looking. I mean, there's flies all over the place. It's pretty darn gross. He says, just for the record, there's a garbage can in there somewhere. My goodness. So that doesn't really make it any better that you put a garbage can outside of your window so you can scrape stuff into it.
No, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Dale says, you know what would make this baby sing is bat guano, nature's miracle grow. Not sure where he's getting that information. Bill says, where do you buy that bat guano? Sears? Sears. How about that? A Sears reference, huh?
Yeah, the old dead Sears.
Dale says, yes, but it lacks the potency. Say it again.
I said Sears and no bucks.
It was Sears and no bucks. You got it. He goes, yes, but it lacks the potency of straight out of the bat feces. Nope. We're going to have to go right to the source. Mono iguano. This is
pretty good.
Like the last episode that we did, the bee story was a little rough. Like it was lacking. It was just like it didn't even fill that much of the episode. This one makes total sense with this storyline.
It's pretty good too. And then again, it also gives you a regional reference because anybody that lives in Central Texas knows that we got bats.
That's true. And then when they go to the farmer's market, we see where that's at. All right, so we're back at the garden. Bobby is eating a carrot and just walking around, which is, I mean, freaking, that's Doc? Love. Yeah. Artie says I love Sears. I'm not a big fan, but did work there quite a bit. So thanks for bringing that up, Artie. Now I'm going to feel bad about myself all day. I'm just joking. All right, so we're at the garden. He's walking around eating a carrot, and like I said, when was the last time you saw Bobby eating a vegetable? Period.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And he's just kind of looking around. He sees the little, when you plant a garden, sometimes they'll take like the little seed packet and put it on a spike next to it so you know what's growing and stuff. And Bobby sees one and it says Gold Bar Summer Squash. Then he moves the leaves back and stuff, and there's just bugs and worms and all that stuff all over it, that's feeding on the vegetables. And so he kind of calls out. He's like, Mom, come here. Look at all these bugs. And then she comes over and starts looking at, or she's over there. She hears him yell. And then the goth girl comes up to her and says, Mrs. Hill, Spencer told me to tell you there's some weird fungus on the turnips, and I saw some snails near the lettuce. I already stepped on one. It was pretty cool. I mean, good for you, goth girl. Sears was mishandled terribly, blah, blah, blah. You're absolutely right about that.
I think it's crazy that you used to be able to buy a house in a Sears catalog for like $5,000 and they'd come build you a house.
Artie's referencing the fact that I used to clock in and then go see movies and then clock out is what he was talking about with the Sears thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can, and now like Amazon, there was a guy on there the other day, $40,000. He bought himself a house and then it showed him putting it together. And basically it just all comes in one big box and you raise the sides of the walls, click it all in together and you got a home.
That's crazy.
Oh, blah, blah, blah says there's a Sears house near them.
Actually,
how do you know?
I've looked
how do you
at
know it's a Sears house?
It's in the tax paperwork.
Oh yeah. He says it's all metal bones, which I mean that makes sense. Okay, so Goth Girl has told her there's snails near the lettuce, and she's already stepped on one. It's pretty cool. She goes, "Oh God, we have to feed those to the football team today. Why did I promise them a field of greens?" Then she starts squashing bugs with her feet and goes, "Die, die, die!" I mean, she freaks the hell out.
Yeah, she went overboard on that one.
We're back on the field. Peggy and Bobby are bringing up baskets of stuff that they know is not good, but
bunch of bad stuff.
Yeah, Hank says, "Hey, everybody, the cavalry's here. Bobby, show the coach what kind of ammo you got for our troops today," talking about the vegetables that they would eat. Peggy, of course, Peggy kind of interrupts and goes, "Oh, just more of the same. Like they're not going to see it. I mean, I don't know what her plan was here." And then one of the coaches comes up and goes, "What the hell happened to this carrot, son?" And then it pans over to a kid who eats a piece of a carrot and just spits it right back out because it's nasty. And then he says, "I wouldn't feed it to 6th grade JV." Hank says, "Oh, this is terrible." And then the other coach, the one that that was yelling at people, goes, "Got anything else for the team to eat? An old hubcap, a wadded up newspaper? Peggy, I got to tell you, my job would be a lot easier." This is Moss now talking. He goes, "Peggy, I got to tell you, my job would be a lot easier if you weren't feeding worms to the football team. I got to call this gardening thing off." She goes, No, you can't do that. And then Bobby says, "Oh, man, I was practically on the football team." Hank hears that. And, of course, now Hank has to save this because his boy was part of a team, and he has to get him back to being a part of this team. He goes, "Now, hold on, Carl. Can I remind you of the time the school board wanted to fire a certain principal for growing a ponytail?" He goes, "Well, Hank, that was a long time ago." "Well, a lot of us said, yeah, he looks like a jackass, but he deserves another chance."
I guess
and that's all we're asking.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that. A lot of us said you look like a jackass, but and so Carl Moss says, "Okay, you got 2 weeks." And then one of the players from off screen is yelling at the coach. He goes, "Hey, coach, I don't feel so blah," and just pukes everywhere. And Moss says, like I said, 1 week. And that takes us to our first commercial break. We're going to take that real quick, and we will be
right back.
He got it.
Join the Daily High Club, the premier destination for glass, water pipes, vaporizers, and accessories. Since 2015, we've sold over 1 million quality products and teamed up with legends like Snoop Dogg and Tommy Chong. Ready to elevate your smoking game? Visit dailyhighclub.com for our El Primo subscription box or shop unique pieces today.
Discover the world of luxury sex toys at Luxury Toy X and indulge in the ultimate pleasure experience. For years, we have been dedicated to the belief that sexuality and wellness are essential components of a happy and healthy life. With over 70,000 satisfied customers, we take pride in our ability to provide products that enhance your sexual well-being. Join our community of satisfied customers and unlock a world of pleasure and self-discovery. Visit luxurytoyx.com today.
Hank's the family fixer, always with his tool belt. But living with prostate cancer, he needed help. He asked his doctor about Xtandi and enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRES, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The number one thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
And we are back. We left Carl Moss telling Hank that he's got 1 week to fix this garden. We've got players vomiting because the produce is so bad.
Hey, bad food, yeah.
Bugs crawling all over all the vegetables and stuff. So the garden team is starting to look a little rough. Goth Girl seems to be the only one that has any sense to her. So now we're in bed at Hank and Peggy's, and both of them have a bunch of books around them. Hank is reading a book that says Organic Gardening for Morons, which I'm assuming is a reference to like all those For Dummies books.
Yeah, I think so.
This is a little rougher, though, because it's for a moron. So I like that. Hank says, don't worry, Peggy. We'll turn that garden around. I have never seen a problem teamwork couldn't fix. Aphids, worms. Ugh. Why does every book about organic gardening have naked people in it? That's a great
You might
line.
be watching a porn magazine, brother.
That's a really great line, though.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Here we go. Hang on. He says, blah, 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 says it was a Lustron house. LOL, not Sears. My bad. Okay, well, that's all right. No big deal. And then Artie says, Hank is a straight shooter. Yeah, he is. He is a straight shooter every friggin' time. Anyway, he says, why do all these organic books have naked people in it? Peggy says, well, this one has 3 chapters on Nixon and nothing about bugs. So I don't know how old.
I got a tidbit for that. So
yeah.
Nixon established the EPA in 1970, and he wasn't. So it kind of like laid out like the regulations and policies and stuff that positively impacted like organic gardening.
Here's why Artie is great at getting this stuff together, because one of the things he just said is, I looked, but a dinner of onions isn't around. That's a hard pull there, Artie. Waiting for that book. The one that Peggy got into trouble with the guns in the bookstore and all that stuff, or the book club and all that. Yeah, that's a great pull, Artie. Congratulations. I like that. It says it's got 3 chapters about Nixon and nothing about bugs. He goes, so when they say Mother Earth, they mean dirt, right? She goes, oh, I'm not sure. But wait, listen to this. Snails are attracted to the smell of beer. They will follow the scent, fall into the beer, and drown. Just like Judy Garland. Good God, that's a rough joke. That's a tough.
That is a rough
Judy Garland joke.
Yeah, she died of drug and alcohol addiction. Yeah, 1969.
Yeah. She just wanders into the beer and falls down.
That's right.
All right, so we're back at the garden. Hank is there, of course, trying to help now. He goes, okay, here we are. What a great-looking group of kids this is. And he leans over to Peggy and goes, this isn't all of them, is it? He goes, so how many of you ever tried out for a team? Every hand goes up. You know, all the kids are standing around listening to him. He goes, and how many of you have ever been picked for a team? 0 hands go up. So they've all tried, but they can't get on a team of any kind. He goes, okay, then. Well, I'm forming a team, the garden team. And you're all my first round draft picks, trying to make them feel good, you know, although that phrase probably means zip to them. And then Bobby says, all right, I'm playing for my dad. With your permission, I'd like to lead us in a cheer. Give me a, and then Hank's just like, permission denied. I mean, just right. He didn't want to hear any crap from Bobby in this episode. He goes, now, if we're going to be a team, we got to play together and give it all we got. So let's get in there and show these bugs we mean business. And everybody cheers, and they're all going to get to work and stuff. So you see Peggy down on the ground, like crawling through the little, what do you call it, rows where everything is planted. And she sees some stuff down there and she's just kind of weeding and things. And she goes, all right, last call for beer, you little garden munchers. You don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here. And she starts to pour that beer on the tomato plant.
I've never heard that before.
Huh?
I've never heard beer for snails.
I've never heard that either. It makes sense, though, I guess. I mean, I guess if you can clean your battery with Coke.
I've heard salt for snails.
Yeah. Yeah. Salt will just kill a snail. I mean, we used to, like, you'd see a slug, you'd sprinkle salt on it or whatever, and it just disintegrates.
Yeah.
So Hank is over on the other. She's pouring beer on the tomato plants. Hank's on the other side. He's cutting up gallon milk jugs. I have seen those before. Like my great grandfather used to have a big garden. Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah. That does a pretty good job. He's cutting those up and he goes, now, supposedly these milk cartons will help protect the base of the plants from crawling bugs, which are all beautiful in their own way. You do see, yes, Artie, you're absolutely right. I was about to say that. When Peggy is down with the beer, pouring it on the tomato plants, you see the golf girl's hand just like reach in and grab a beer.
Grabs a beer. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Nobody even knows. So he sees, as he's talking about these milk cartons, he hears these kids playing around back there, and sticks his head around, and he sees two kids with milk jugs on their head, battling each other with rakes and hose like they were lightsabers. And the kid goes, Queen Amidala, I'll save you from the dark side. Hanks is just like, oh, God, if there were any more than one garden team, we'd be in last place. Bobby speaks up and says, quit screwing around, guys, and forget about Queen Amidala and the dark side. Who's saving these cucumbers for aphids? Bobby didn't know that Hank was watching. And Hank is like super proud when he sees Bobby go in there and just get these guys back on track, you know. All right. Now
somebody's got to, because they're losing the plot.
Absolutely. That was always my biggest deal, I guess, as a teacher. It's trying to keep an entire group on a task, you know. It's just, it's a very hard thing to do.
And that's why you end up with like one kid doing all the work.
Yeah. Yeah. My kids would, I mean, you know, again, it's art class and stuff like that, which wasn't as bad, but, you know, there's a lot in there for them to fart around with, you know, kids running with scissors and crap like that. So,
oh yeah. Box cutters, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I tell you what, they didn't have is any glitter. I got rid of all the glitter.
Good. Yeah.
We're back at the Gribble house now, and they are in the basement with a bat in a cage. So we've got Dale, Boomhauer, and Bill. You know, of course, this is the trifecta of idiots. And Dale says, boy, it's true what they say about the Denton flea market. Denton, there you go.
Yeah, actually, Denton Flea Market, they'll have live wrestling this Sunday, May 18th, free entry only. Parking $3. That's 4200 East University Drive in Denton.
Okay, free wrestling. That's
listening,
great.
You can go
you get some wrestling and some kumquats
there in Denton. Yeah.
He goes, boy, it's true what they say about the Denton Flea Market. You really can get anything there. Bill says, so how much guano have you collected so far? He goes, none, but I've been feeding it bugs and prunes and massaging its colon for the past 2 days. So the floodgates are about to open. Build an ark, boys. They all like get down and look that bat right in the face, and then one little poop pellet falls out. Dink. That's it. He goes, we're going to need more bats. So we go back to the garden, and this is Hank talking. Andrew, how many times do I have to tell you the weed puller is for – he sees this kid over there playing with the weed puller, he thinks.
Yeah.
But then the kid turns around, and he's literally pulling weeds like he's supposed to. He goes, pulling – oh, good job. Then he sees a girl running through there. Her name is Rain, by the way. She's a girl going through there just like throwing stuff in the air, almost like, wee, wee, you know, that kind of thing. So he assumes she's playing around. He goes, dang it, Rain, I don't think your extract of hippie is going to help our garden. Rain speaks up and says, actually, these are ashes from our wood stove at home. They discourage slugs and cutworms. So Hank is really getting a lot of feedback here from these kids. He didn't really expect these kids to pitch in.
They're actually trying to learn now, yeah.
Yeah. He goes, Rain, you've just earned yourself a high five. He goes, come on, don't leave me hanging. She finally comes over there and gives him a high five. Peggy is in the garden. She sees some rotten tomatoes, and she runs up to Hank. Hank, why isn't this working? Damn it, these bugs are eating my career. He goes, Peggy, I had my doubts about this whole organic thing too, but if the old gardening teacher pulled it off, then so can we. Look at these kids. They're actually working as a team. Hey, slow down, Tommy. Save some water for the plants. Right? So Hank is bought in. He sees these girls, or he sees these kids, sorry, not girls, but he sees these kids working actually as a team, trying their hardest to get these vegetables to grow. So he's in la la land. You know, I mean, he's happy with what's going on because that's really all he wants to see. He just wants to see them actually pitch in and learn and all that.
Yeah.
Now, Peggy, on the other hand, that's a different thing. Peggy shows up to Mr. Tomich's house. Mr. Tomich has retired, and he apparently spends most of his time in the hot tub. So he is in the hot tub while Peggy is talking to him. She goes, Mr. Tomich, I don't know how you did it. I tried every organic trick in the book: soapy water, pepper spray, tobacco, cotton balls, pecan shells, ladybugs, and I got Jack. Whew, that makes me tired having to say that. He goes,
yeah, that was a long one.
He goes, how about methyl whatever he says. And she goes, that wasn't in my organic gardening book, was it? He goes, very powerful pesticide. Just be sure not to get any of it on your hands. So he's giving away the first secret here, that he was using pesticide when he was saying it was an organic garden.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, it's not very organic when you're
she says,
spraying
but,
it with
the whole
whatever the hell.
Yeah, no kidding.
It
right?
is actually a real pesticide, though. It's a common component of pesticides, particularly used those as soil fumigants.
Methyl isothiocyanate. That's as close as I'm going to get.
No, that's right.
He says, don't get it on your hands. She goes, but the whole point was to teach kids about organic gardening. That's why you don't tell anybody. Oh my God, you grew a garden of lies. He goes, yes, and tomatoes the size of your cranium. Look, if you want to keep your garden and your job, you just got to use pesticides. What do you think's keeping termites from eating this deck? Love? I mean, he's got a point, you know?
He does have a point.
Artie says that the secret is you got to cheat. That's pretty much what that's kind of the world.
Not winning.
It's honestly the world we live in these days too. All right, so Peggy goes in and she starts in the middle of the night, which I'm not sure where she told Hank she was going. Middle of the night, she's out there spraying these plants down with chemicals. Then we see kind of a montage of the next few days, and we're watching a tomato that's hanging off a plant, and we see it start to grow and ripen and all of that, and it gets huge. It gets a big tomato. It's beautiful because the bugs are leaving it alone. And then Bobby comes through, and he sees it. This is several days later. And he goes, Dad, look at the size of this one. If Gallagher smashed it, it would reach all the way back to the room. So have you ever been to a Gallagher show?
No,
it's probably before you, right?
Yeah.
I went to one Gallagher show. I think when we were in Vegas, we went to a Gallagher show.
Okay.
It is insane that in this beautiful casino, pristine, you know how it is there. I mean, everything's so clean and it's all in working order and all that because they make so much damn money. They employ 1 billion people. You've got Gallagher on stage smashing watermelons so hard that they fly into the first few rows of the seats.
Was it a band?
Huh?
Was this a
No,
band?
he's a comedian. He was a comedian. He was
I've never heard of him.
Gallagher, he was a prop comedian a lot of the time. And one of the things he would do was his sledge-o-matic, which is just this giant, like Wile E. Coyote type hammer. And he would put watermelons up there and just smash them, right? Now, why? I don't really remember. But yeah, they all had to wear, like you had to get a poncho at the door if you were going to sit in like the first 3 rows or whatever. Blah, blah, blah says, I saw him at Knott's Berry Farm once. That's cool, I guess. Now, the problem is you don't know if it's Gallagher 1 or Gallagher 2. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Gallagher had a brother who really didn't do much. Instead, what he did is he dressed up like his Gallagher brother and would go on tour as Gallagher 2. Now, this was okayed by Gallagher at one point, and so they could be in twice as many places at one time, right? Which is ridiculous because you're just trying to fool people, because it would say Gallagher and then 2 would be like little tiny, behind it or whatever.
Oh, well, apparently people really got injured.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, you got a watermelon flying at your head. It's not great. But anyway, they got into a fight of some kind, the 2 brothers, and it broke it up, and then one of them sued the other one or something like that. And Gallagher's Gallagher's name was really not worth much at the end of there. All right, so Hank says Bobby's come up and said, hey, look at this. Gallagher smashed it. It would reach all the way to the back of the room. So what he was talking about was those first 3 rows that would usually get wet. He goes, you see, Peggy, you didn't have faith, but look at this place. He just looks around and goes, is there anything that beer can't do? I mean, that's such a great Hank phrase. Peggy says, you're right. He goes, I know this stuff is for the football team, but it just looks so good. I'm going to have a sample. She goes, no, and just knocks it out of his hand because she knows it's covered in pesticides. She goes, it's for the football team, and don't touch your eyes. Why would you say don't touch your eyes? All right, so we see the other 3 guys. So we got Bill, we got Boomhauer, and we got Dale. They are going into what is labeled as East Bridge Service Entrance. It's middle of the night. They have a trash can on a dolly, and each one of the other guys has a shovel or a hoe or a rake or something in their hand, probably a shovel. And Dale says, according to the nice lady at the Flying Mammal Society, once again, I'd just like to repeat that phrase, Flying Mammal Society, this bridge is home to more than 30,000 bats. Even if half of them are constipated, it's still a gold mine. So I'm assuming this is a little bit of a reference to the Austin Bats. You know, they've got that one bridge.
Yeah, Congress.
Mm-hmm.
The Mexican free-tailed bats. They say that colony is the largest urban bat colony in North America. They said there's around 1.5 million bats in that colony.
That's insane, man. That is just totally insane.
Yeah.
But if you're in Austin and you want to see a spectacle, it is kind of cool, though. You can stand on that bridge and just watch
summer,
them all.
pretty much. Yeah, it's like late spring to early fall.
Yeah, you just watch them all fly at once. It's pretty breathtaking, you know. Now, you do want to hold
up on weather radar. They like when they jump off and they all fly away. You can see it on weather radar. There's some
really. Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. So yeah, if you're in Austin and you ever want to see some bats, there you go. He says his brother took it from him, which Artie is referring to Gallagher too. And then he says it reminds him of the Scooby-Doo opening, which you're absolutely right, Artie. The original Scooby-Doo show had all those bats go right at the screen, and then it would fade out, and it would say Scooby-Doo on the thing. So yeah, it does kind of remind me of that. That's good. That's a good pull. So they're walking in, and Boomhauer like, oh man, god dang old P&O-U, man. Instead of just saying P-U or saying it stinks, he goes, god dang old P&O-U, man. Bill says,
oh, yeah.
Bill says, oh God, it's awful. They're all taking big, deep breaths. They walk in, and then everything goes black because they're walking into this tunnel, right? So we can't see them. We can only hear their voices. And you hear Bill like, eep! And then Dale says, floor is slippery. That's a good sign. Boomhauer, get ready. I think I hear something. Then you hear this little plop. He goes, yes. And then you hear plop. He goes, picking up. And then plop, 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 plop. And then Dale's like, oh no. And then you hear all the squeaking of the bats. And they all start flying out, and the boys start running towards the light. And you hear, oh, God, we've awakened a sleeping, pooping giant. And they're just all screaming and running. And then Bill, I got a bat in my mouth. Just screaming and running away.
That's nasty. Yeah.
All right, so
we go out.
We go over to what is called Pizza Joe's. I know we've seen them at a pizza place before, but I don't remember if it was Pizza Joe's or not. I always thought it was Sugarfoot's that they ended up going to. But maybe they have been to Pizza Joe's. So they're at Pizza Joe's.
Pizza Joe's, this will be the first time you see Pizza Joe's, but it pops up in 2 other episodes after.
It looks like Sugarfoot's, like where they would gather, the whole group or whatever and have those meetings.
Well, if you look at the roof style, it kind of reminiscent of almost one that wants to be a Pizza Hut kind of style look.
Oh yeah.
And if you look at the windows have curtains, like the Pizza Hut used to have the curtains and all that, the red curtains. So it's got some similar features there.
Alexander is trying to say Shakey's, I believe. Shakey's Pizza, and then the correct is getting him autocorrect. But you're right. It's Shakey's Pizza. Do you remember? Have you ever been in a Shakey's Pizza, or do you know what that is?
Nope.
Okay. So Shakey's Pizza used to be like a Mr. Gaddy's or, just a pizza place, but I believe they had a buffet in it. you'd go in there and there was guys in straw hats, like old timey straw hats, wearing suspenders and playing the banjo. Like they would just play music the whole time, like "Hello, my baby," "Hello, my," while you're guzzling down your pizza.
That sounds like a great time.
It was
the one out here, the one here in town used to be on Valley Mills, but it closed in '78.
Yeah, Shakey's. Yeah. I can remember going there 3 or 4 times, and that's about it. But it was over there where, and this is going to be super specific for us guys, but it's over there where number 9 is now on Valley Mills, that Mexican restaurant that used to be. It used to be a Chinese restaurant. Before it was a Chinese restaurant, it was Shakey's.
Oh, okay.
And then right in front of it was a Church's Fried Chicken.
Because that was the 50s and 60s were really big for like that area right there.
Oh yeah. No, had the tornado not come through here, I think Waco probably would have gotten to the point where it was at least rivaling like Austin as far as growth.
It was already bigger than Austin when the tornado hit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everything had to move one way or the other, though. Because
it was a big trade center.
Yeah, we were just devastated. I mean, it really did kill downtown for a long time.
Very long time.
Okay, so we're at Pizza Joe's. Say it again.
I said it happened in 1953, and it was in my like adult life that it's kind of revived. Because when I was a teenager, it was just homeless people and drug addicts stumbling all downtown.
The bad part about it now is with the economy being the way it is, downtown. And this is downtown Waco, Texas, guys, that we're talking about. It is starting to come back. There's a lot of stuff that's built down there, a lot of businesses and things, but the prices for real estate have gone just through the roof down there, and nobody is backing off. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to reach a point where there's a glut of empty buildings again, just because nobody will work with anybody. They want to charge Austin prices when you're in Waco, Texas, and there's just too much inventory, blah, 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 asking if we get scorpions in our house. I have never seen a scorpion in my house. No. Now, out in China Spring, Belton, those kind of places, they get a lot of those. I know. I remember when my cousin was small, he lived in a house and they would get scorpions all the time. Artie says, the first time I heard of Waco was on One Day at a Time. And the joke was that Schneider pronounced it wacko. Yeah, a lot of people say that. So we're at Pizza Joe's. Hank is at the end of the table. All the kids are sitting on either side of the table, and he's like addressing them almost like it's Thanksgiving or something, right? He says, listen up, team. I just wanted to tell you how proud I am. You've overcome the elements, the bugs, and God knows your own limitations. One kid goes, I got heat stroke. That's okay, great, kid. Bobby holds up his thumb and goes, look at this. I thought it was a tumor, but Mom said it was a callus. A tumor? Jesus.
That's a bit dramatic.
You go right to it. Hank says, and since you guys are working like a team, I figure it's about time you look like one. And then he holds up some jerseys. He has gone and gotten jerseys made for each one of these kids so they could be part of a team. That's how hard Hank will go for you if you work hard or do the right thing. Hank will be there and back you up. I mean, I can't imagine buying jerseys for every one of these damn kids was cheap. No,
it definitely wasn't. He does go above and beyond sometimes. He might have got old Buck Strickland to sponsor it. He might have.
True. Very well could have.
Maybe.
I do kind of like their little gardening thing. It's got the little cow skull on it and the tools over its head, almost like skull and crossbones kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So he holds them up and says, you need to look like a team. Everybody's just like, and he goes, yep, team jerseys. Bobby, you keep up the good work, and I might just have to sew a C on your jersey for captain. I mean, that is all that Hank has ever wanted. He wants his kid to be a captain of a team.
That's it. He just wants him to be something.
We now see, same time at night, Peggy is back over at the garden, and she's spraying more chemicals. She yawns and takes in some of the chemical, and she starts coughing and coughing and coughing. And obviously, she falls asleep or passes out there. So next day, we see the team starting to arrive over there, and he goes, oh, all right, team. Early bird kills the worm. Opens up the door, and he goes, Peggy, because she's sleeping on the ground with the poison. Okay, so there's one of two things that have happened here. Either she passed out late last night during the pizza party and stayed there, and if she did, why did Hank not go looking for her when she was not in his bedroom that night?
Yeah, it's a weird continuity thing.
or she had to get up. And this is the way I like to think of it. I think she got up very early. So the dark is confusing, whether it's really late or very early. I think she got up very early and went to the garden and started doing this and passed out.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That makes more sense.
That's probably what happened, yeah.
So he says, all right, team, early bird kills the worm. He opens up the gate, and there's Peggy all passed out. And he goes, Peggy. And that is our second commercial break. We'll take that and be
right back.
There it is.
OsleyMD.com. I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again. OsleyMD.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom: The Dark Ages. Available now on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
Rated M for mature.
Vacations will never be the same. Welcome to the theme parks of Universal Orlando Resort. With spectacular hotels and more, Universal Orlando offers an entire week of vacation awesome. Visit universalorlando.com.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
And we are back. That was our last commercial break. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we left Peggy passed out on the ground. Hank came to the door and opened up the gate to the garden with all the kids, found her there. And he says, Peggy, what are you doing? She goes, well, I was just vacuuming the garden. That's great. The goth girl sees that she's holding the poison container, one of those pumpers that sprays. She goes, that's skull and crossbones sticker. It says warning poison. She goes, all right, I've been spraying pesticides. Hank is completely taken aback by this. He says, but Peggy, this is an organic garden. Using chemicals is the only thing you're not allowed to do. He goes, oh, come on, Hank. How else do you think I was able to grow them so well? This kid says, you mean it wasn't us, the team? And I mean, they're starting to lose faith again because it's kind of their life. Hank says, and I already thanked God for a bountiful harvest. He must think I'm an idiot. And then he walks off like he's in direct connection with God here. Peggy says, well, I had no choice. You can't get anything good without chemicals. Chemicals are what keep my hair so high and brown. Hank, as he's walking off. We then transition over to the Denton Flea Market, as mentioned previously.
Yep,
All three of the boys are
flea market. If you pull up tonight, there is a free wrestling show.
Go get you some wrestling, boys.
$3 parking. Bring cash.
Can't beat that, man. $3 parking for a wrestling show. All three of the boys are walking in there. So you got Dale, Bill, and Boomhauer walking into the Denton flea market. Or actually, they're already there. We see that they have a tent set up, all three of them, and they're selling Grib, Treve, Hauer, Bat Guano is what it says on the sign.
Oh,
so
wow.
couldn't think of a longer name.
Yeah, that's a long one.
So it's got part of each one of their names in it. Dale says, screw helping the football team. If they want guano, they can crawl through hell getting it like we did. I had to burn my favorite Levi's and a hat that was perfectly molded to my head. Guy walks up to their tent and kind of looking at what they've got, and Bill goes, step right up, man. Get a little guano. Just like, oh, I'm sorry. This is Boomhauer. Step right up, man. Get him a little guano. Just like them dang old Egyptians, man. Gonna change your life, man. The guy just keeps walking, and he goes, just guaranteed to be fresh too, man. And then Dale says, you, sir, why are you afraid to take the guano challenge? Are you afraid it might rock your world? Talking to somebody else, and they just run off. Coward! Yeah. Like he's screaming at him. Now we go back to the Hill House. Hank has been really let down by this, so he, of course, is out mowing the yard to get his frustrations out.
Oh, he should be. That was kind of shitty of her to do that. Like you said, the only rule to an organic garden
don't spray pesticides.
Not put pesticides on. You can do anything else you want as long as it's not pesticides.
You got it. I mean, you can take shit right there on a tomato plant. But he's there mowing the yard on his riding lawnmower, just kind of getting the steam off. Bobby comes home from school. He gets off the bus and goes right up to his dad and says, so Principal Moss pulled the plug on the garden. The football team is moving their blocking sleds over there next week. Hank says, well, good. I'm on a goddamn mailing list for an organic food store. To think I shopped at a place called Passages. Passages.
It's kind of funny.
Bobby says, I guess the garden team has one more game left, huh, Dad? Harvesting the last crop. Hank says, there never was any garden team. This is just your mother, the cheater, spraying her cheater juice all over the place. Cheater juice. Bobby says, no, it wasn't. We worked hard on that garden. Hank says, who knows what we really did. It's like we all got caught using steroids. The only honorable thing left to do is forfeit and get off the field. He just kind of mows away, right? He mows off into the distance.
Yep.
Later, we see Bobby working in the garden again. And the goth girl kind of comes up to him, and she goes, what are you doing, Bobby? The garden team's dead. We should just set fire to the whole thing and watch it burn. He says, we planted this garden, and we worked hard to make it grow. Now, there's one more harvest left, and the snails are going to have to go through me to get it. And then all the kids come in. They all start working. You see the goth girl crush the snails.
They're doing the snail thing.
They're on the team. Yeah, they're on a team, We see Bobby ride his bike home in the dark, which, again, do they not know where Bobby's been? Then he goes into the garage. He takes all his clothes off, puts it right into the washing machine. My grandparents used to have their washing machine and their dryer in the garage like that. I think that's one of the only times I've ever seen that. But it did keep a lot of heat out of the house, I guess.
Yeah.
He takes his clothes off, puts it in the washer, and Peggy's around the corner. She sees him, and she realizes how important this is to Bobby. So she's got a little bit of a soul left when it comes to her kid. Now we're back at the football field. The coaches are all standing around watching the guys practice, and you hear, he's open. He got, dang it. Oh, look, it's Hippie Hill, because here comes Hank walking up.
Hippie Hill, I like that.
One of the other coaches says, hey, Granola, what's your boy doing in the garden over there? And points at it. And then we see that Bobby is over working in the garden. He goes, dang it, Bobby. All right, I'll go make sure they're gone before the football team brings over the blocking sleds. He goes over to the garden, and he sees all of the kids in there working really hard. Like they want this thing to succeed, but just like they want this thing to succeed because this is the first time they've really worked as a team and stuff like that. And so
yeah,
Artie says this is like the 8th time Peggy has been shown to cheat, and she's a teacher. That's pretty true.
Yeah, she cheats a lot. She doesn't have doesn't have very much integrity.
Well, I'll tell you guys something about teachers, and this is just between me and y'all. They're terrible students, and they are very bad at doing all the things that they tell kids not to do. So if you've got a teacher that's in a meeting, guaranteed they're on their phone. If you've got a teacher who is supposed to be listening to something, guaranteed they're not. So,
they're not. Yeah.
Okay, so he goes over the garden. He sees all the kids working. So he is like, oh, good Lord, these kids are all still on the team. And you hear Bobby directing all of them. And this is what makes Hank so proud. He goes, keep it up, team. It's the fifth quarter, and time's running out. I know you're tired and sore, but if we don't bring these vegetables in, no one will. So keep picking till you can't pick anymore, and then pick one more. And then as these poor kids are working, it just starts raining footballs on them. Footballs are hitting them in the head, hitting all around them and stuff. The football players we see are out there pushing their tackling dummies into where the garden's supposed to be. I don't know if they're just going to knock the walls down or what the hell they're going to do. And you hear from the players who are rolling up with these tackling dummies, try planting this. It's raining pain. Incoming. They're coming. They always come. Move it. There's something in your way. Run over it. Get out of the way, garden dorks. I mean, these guys are turds. They're real.
They are. They're rough. Yeah, rough crowd here.
Bobby looks over at Hank and goes, why, Dad? Why? Like, why would they do this to us? He goes, Hank stops in front of he goes out and stops in front of the football players. And he goes, I don't think so. These kids have worked hard, and this is what's going to happen. They're going to harvest their vegetables. You guys are going to eat them, and then you're going to say thank you. The coach says, move them, Hank. These cupcakes don't belong on a football field. He goes, you guys know I can play running back, but I can block too. As I recall, Rick, talking to one of the coaches, you were a tennis player, right? He goes, all right, come on, let's get back to practice. I mean, that is the one nice thing about living in this small town. You know everybody's secrets.
He knows everybody's secrets. He's like, you didn't even play football. You played tennis.
That's right. You were a tennis player.
I'll run right through you.
So they're back picking
equivalent. That was like Hank, the equivalent of saying, none of you can whoop me. So
that's right. That's exactly what it is. So they go back to picking, and Bobby says, we've been working in this garden for a week, and I tried to resist it, but Dad, give me a wheelbarrow ride. He goes, all right, quick, get in. So he puts him in the wheelbarrow, and he's pushing him around the garden and stuff, and then the camera starts kind of panning out. Peggy comes over to the door, and she goes, can I help? I've gone straight. I swear. I'm done with chemicals. I didn't even use shampoo or soap or deodorant this morning. Smell me. And then she shoves her pit into some poor kid's nose, like just wanting him to smell her armpit, which sucks for that stupid kid.
Yeah.
Bobby says, you can help step on beetles, but I got to warn you, the ones that survive the poisons are really tough. And then the camera just pans out. We see all the kids working. We see Peggy going to help. We see the wheelbarrow ride taking place. And all is good with the world again. And then we get our credits.
And that's that one.
After the credits, we do hear Hank say, is there anything that beer can't do? And that is it. That is season 7, episode 18, 7ABE 14. I Never Promised You an Organic Garden, aired Sunday, April 13th, 2003. That's a good episode.
Episode 144 of King of the Hill.
That's a really good one, though.
It is a good one.
I like that one. It moved at a really good clip. All the stuff made sense, as to what was what. Now,
the A and the B all weave together too. So the subplot like tied. Yeah. So it was really like an A1, A2 plot kind of thing.
Yeah, they did a really good job. That was a good one. Okay, so number one, I want to thank you guys for hanging on for the last couple of weeks. I know it's been a little weird.
Yeah,
birthdays,
be a little weird, and so we're
Mother's Day, all that stuff. This next weekend will be a little weird also because we will be in Austin for the ATX TV Festival, and I'll talk more about that on Friday. But the most most exciting thing is this, which I am holding up the new poster for the new King of the Hill. Seasons and episodes. We will talk about that as well as the ATX TV Fest and what we're going to do there on Friday. But for this episode, I believe we are done. But once again, I just want to thank everybody for hanging on and being here. You guys are the reason we do this. Rusty gave you a big old salute. And you want to tell them where else they can find us?
You can find us at BWAAAKOTH, and that's pretty much everywhere. There's a social media, and you can find us at youtube.com/@BWAAAKOTH. And if you're listening right now on the YouTube, stick around because we'll be recording our Friday episode.
Friday episode. Hey, James says, thanks for being awesome. James, thank you for being awesome and being here. We really appreciate it, man. Yeah. Anytime. And if you guys ever have any feedback for us, please send it to us. Now, if it's about the fact that we're recording remote, just suck it up and deal with it. But other than that, if you've got suggestions or things that you'd like to see us try to accomplish, or you want to be a guest, Reach out to us.
TWAAAKOTH@gmail.com.
That is the way to go. That is the way to go. All right. And with that, I believe there is only one thing left to say.
Wima Tanye.
Wima Tanye, indeed. Nice to be back.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.